Hey guys, welcome to the Rat Grind channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is episode 43, June 6, 2018. I just want to give you guys some updates on the crypto markets, what happened today, some news, also some Bitcoin and Ethereum analysis, right? So if this is your first time coming to this channel, just some housekeeping. Thank you so much for coming today, and please do subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever I put out new content, as well as please do comment below, smash a thumbs up so you can be able to give me the feedback that I need to keep improving this channel for you guys and keep giving you the maximum impact. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join me today. So let's get right to it, guys. So the first outline I'm going to give you guys an outline on what we're going to discuss today. So the first one is the crypto markets overall are in consolidation mode, right? We're seeing some upticks in the markets overall, some reds, but overall is still relatively on its upward trend, right? So we're going to look at the charts, look at the market cap and all that stuff. Also, we're going to do a dive into Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've been looking at it for, I don't know, for past couple months now, seeing where it's headed, right? We experienced some downtrend, and we're going to look at the chart. We're going to look at some indicators to see where it could be going, so that it gives us the best opportunity to be able to make the decisions and probabilities to make the right calls, right? So as far as the practical coin news, right? So the things that happened today, Coinbase is going to become one of the first here in the United States, if not the first, securities trading venue, right? So that's really good. They're working with the Security Exchange Commission, so we're going to talk about that news. Also, Ethereum is moving ahead towards their consensus change that they've announced a long time ago, and we know it's been coming, that they're going to move from proof of work to proof of stake, right? So they're gonna go ahead and continue making their updates to get them to that point. They have not specified a date, but we're going there. So we'll check out that news as well. And there's a new Bitcoin ETF proposal that was submitted to the SEC. We're going to look at that as well. And Binance, this is really great news. Binance steps closer to offering Fiat, right, as a trading pair, so you could buy cryptos on Binance using your regular fiat currency. So we're going to check that out. And the last bit of news that we're going to talk about is the Fidelity getting ready. Fidelity, which is a huge company here in the United States, especially for people that work, have 401ks, retirement and stuff like that. They're getting ready for a move to crypto, right? So let's get right on to the chart, guys. So you'll see behind me, as far as the Coin 360 is concerned, you'll see there's a lot of greens. The majority of the big coins are in the green, although not that much increase, right? They didn't increase as much as we would hope, but they're trajecting up still. So that's really good. But we're seeing a lot of red still on the smaller cap coins and the altcoins, right? That's what we're seeing. So we're gonna see where that where that heads. So let's look at the coin market cap. So today, the market cap stands at $348 billion, right? 723 million dollars. The 24-hour volume stands at $15 billion, and Bitcoin's dominance is at about 37.8%. So if we look at some of the coins here, the major ones, we're looking at the top 100. Majority of it is on the upswing. But of course, we had that correction, as you can see in this on Bitcoin, for example. You'll see that it happened in, I believe, last week. But we are still moving up. So it's still a really good momentum that we've been able to pick up over the week, although we took a nosedive, over the last couple of days, but we're still relatively good. Mostly the coins, NEM pulled in about 10%. So that's really good. Congratulations to you guys that are holding NEM there. Eternity, wow, 15%. I was actually looking at trading this, but I didn't have time to look at that position and study it to see where it was at. So it's, if you were able to trade that or you're holder of eternity, congratulations for you to be able to make those massive gains, right? So just, make sure to keep an eye on it because it's dipped quite a few times over the last couple weeks. So just watch out. If you need to take your profits, feel free to do so. Overall, like I said, majority of it is red. I mean green, but there's some of them that are still having some pullbacks, right? There's nothing, I can't see any specific pattern on what coins really are pulling back, so I can't really give you guys some gauge on that. I think you just have to look at your indicators, look at your charts, and see where the market is headed from that point, and you can base it on how I'm going to analyze Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So let's jump into Bitcoin, right? So today we were looking at this last night, and when we reported this, it was in the red, right? When the day started yesterday, it was in the red, but it closed today in the green, and the new candle the new day candle that it's working on is actually, that's really good. It's right above the 21-day the 13-day exponential moving average, right? But it's being rejected by the 21-day, so there's quite a bit of pressure here, but it's it's going into this particular channel here. Let me just move this channel real quick so that I can make it bigger. Yeah, so it's maintaining itself within this channel. It might hit this channel. If it does hit this channel, then that means that we've broken out of the 21-day moving average, and we'll be heading up to the 55-day moving average, right? So that's what we want to be able to see. What we want to see is for these lines to be inverse, right? We want the 200-day moving average below, and then the 55 above that, so it's supporting that channel. I mean, supporting that trend line, and then of course the 21-day, 13-day, and 8-day, right? So we're still heading towards this this trend line right here, this upper trend line on this on this triangle. But we're gonna try to see if we can, like I said yesterday, I don't really want it to shoot up, hit this line right here. We want it to slowly get up here. If it can hit around here, around the 8600, 8700 level, and then break through from that, that's what we want to be able to see. Because relatively speaking, if you look at the volume, it's not that much there, guys. Look, I mean, compared to this, right? When it dropped to about 6,700 here, there was a massive green column on the volume here that just forced it to go up dramatically. So right now there isn't a lot of big movements, but once we see that big movement, this can shoot up. We don't want that to happen. I think we want to just maintain this and go up little by little, slowly but surely, and then we'll be able to converge, because a lot of these lower EMAs, as you can see, they're all pointing up. These are pointing up. The top big ones, the 55 and 200-day, are pointing down. So we want those to converge, right? So that we'll have a golden cross that happens there. And then we'll be able to see, because there was a death cross that happened right here when it pulled back a lot, but we want to be able to see a reversal of that. Let's look at the MACD. So as far as the MACD, it's continuing its bullish convergence here, and it's diverging up. So that's a great momentum indicator for that, because we are seeing that the slower line is fanning out. So that's really a great sign. If it can continue to fan out, we have quite a long way to go for this. If we just draw out this line, potentially we could be pointing there, and this one is pointing at about here. And then we could converge again, but that would have been able to give us, that would pan out about almost a couple weeks, almost to the end of this month. So we're gonna see where that goes, but we're still not out of the woods yet as far as where it can get rejected, and it can still fall below this, because it's having a hard time getting out of this channel right here. Let's look at the RSI. The RSI is still there's a bullish divergence here that we can see. So there's still quite a ways for it to be able to go before it can get to oversold levels. The last time it was oversold, let me just put my crosshairs here. So as last time it was oversold here, it double topped, right? And when it hit that double top, it crashed, right? And that's something that we want to try to avoid. We want to try to maintain below this and not actually get oversold, so that it can break through this channel and then be able to get as much momentum as possible to, climb up to 10,000, 8,000 first, 8,500, 10,000, all the way to like, 11, 12,000, right? So that's what we want to be able to see. So let's look at Ethereum, guys. So again, we're looking at the day chart here. As you can see, this one is closer to actually having the EMAs cross. So that's really a really good sign. But it closed on a red candle yesterday, right? So it got sold out, but that looks good because it dropped all the way down below the 8 and 13-day moving average and got bought up, but it's still getting rejected by the 21-day EMA. So that's not what we want to be able to see, but we'll see how that pans out in the next couple of days. Again, we want a healthy climb up, little by little, consolidate a little bit. Excuse me, consolidate a little bit and continue the upward momentum. If we look at the MACD line, it's the same thing, right? So it had a cross here, a bullish cross, and it looks like we're heading to about, that way. So it looks like, a healthy climb. And let's look at the RSI. Let's see if it's not oversold, or how far it is. I'm sure it's not. Yeah, so we're not even halfway there. So again, it's still showing some major signs of a bullish trend right here. So we want to be able to see that this continues its upward momentum, not too fast. We don't want it to spike like this, because like you see, when it spiked like this really relatively fast, it went from this was about the first week of April, and by the end of April or mid-April, it already was oversold, and it continued to remain oversold. That's why it crashed hard. So we want to be able to get this little by little, slowly but surely, have a good momentum up, right? So that's basically what we're looking at for Ethereum, and we're going to see in the next couple of days where it goes. I think there's a lot of moves that can happen here. I mean, it didn't really fall as much as Bitcoin did. It still remained up here, but we need to really see where this market takes us, and potentially, I'm hoping not, but I'm hearing a lot of news. I'm looking at a lot of expert TAs that are much better than me, seeing they still feel anxious. They're still not sure that it's picked up, that it is on a bullish trend. It's still, everybody's saying that it still has a bearish tendency to it, right? So we want to be able to see how it can break through that, and everybody's waiting for it to break through slowly but surely above these channels, and for these EMAs to fan out in a bullish way, right? We want to be able to see the fast lines staying above, like the 8-day EMA, 13-day, 21-day, 55-day, and 200-day, fanning out slowly, and in that sequence, right? That's what we want to be able to see, and we don't want it to climb up so fast that it's going to burn out and then crash back down. Because if you can see, as far as the amount of volume that's hitting the market, it's not that much. So we don't want a sudden impact, but I know everybody's waiting for that. But we want a slow but sure upward movement in this particular market. All right, so let's get on to the news, guys. So the first bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys is today, I saw on Coinbase's Twitter, let me read it to you, right? So they say, today, we're excited to announce that we're on track to become a U.S. regulated, that's really good, that's a keyword there, U.S. regulated blockchain security trading venue. We believe this is an important moment, not only for Coinbase, but the entire crypto ecosystem. This is definitely great because it will give them, I mean, I know we've been talking about like Goldman Sachs and all these big institutions getting into it. But a lot of you guys may not like Coinbase, but Coinbase is essentially the easiest way for any retail investors to get into the market. I know we have Gemini. I mean, Coinbase also has GDAX, but for people to transfer their money, wait a couple of days and then to buy Bitcoin, by that time, the price has changed already. That is a little bit taxing for anybody that's new in the space. But Coinbase makes it easy for you, although they do take fees. They do take a hefty fee, but you can be able to rest assured that you make the purchase right then and there. Within a few minutes, you have your purchase. You have your first crypto purchase. So they basically are the big leader in getting retail investors into the market, and by them being a blockchain security trading venue, they're also going to be a good venue for the traditional big investors to be able to come into the market and feel safe that they are a US regulated blockchain securities venue, right? So that's really, really good for every one of us, right? So the next bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys is about Ethereum, right? Ethereum is continuing their play to move into proof of stake. They've talked about it all the time. They've laid out the parameters of how they want to be able to do that. They've laid out that they're going to launch this simultaneously, or they'll keep it simultaneously, so that the Bitcoin halving, as far as the mining is concerned, gets harder and harder and harder and harder, so that it won't make sense for people to continue mining and move into the staking of it, right? Basically, you move from a miner to a validator. That's where they want to be able to take you. But of course, we're all waiting for this, because in the last couple of weeks, right, there's been a lot of proof of work coins that have experienced heavy 51% attacks. I know we talk about it in Bitcoin. That is highly unlikely that can happen, because the amount of money that you need for Bitcoin is quite high, right? But for these other smaller coins that forked off of Ethereum, that forked off of Bitcoin, that don't have enough price in them, some of them, they're able to do it if big enough amount of people actually take hold and mine enough, then they could essentially hurt the cryptocurrencies that are that they're trying to hit, right? Zencash was the last casualty of that. So it's unfortunate, but it does happen. So we're all anxious to see how Ethereum moves ahead and how the changes are going to be when they go ahead and do that, right? Because there's already a lot of people that hold Ethereum tokens and want to be able to see how this affects the price, because there's a lot of tokens that are being derived from the Ethereum token, right? So I mean, they're being created as Ethereum based tokens. So we're gonna have to see how this all pans out. Maybe that will be the news that will be able to solidify its stance. And if there are more cryptocurrency exchanges that offer us direct USD purchasing, right? If Binance, I'm going to talk about that today, with that move, we may be able to decouple some of these big coins like the Ethereums, the Bitcoins, away from the altcoins, and they can have their own momentum and their own trends. Because if you ever invested in the stock market, although there are certain trends, like if the market is going to go down, pretty much everything crashes, but these coins react. I mean, these stocks would act independently from each other. But pretty much in our space, in crypto, when Bitcoin is doing good, essentially it's sort of a sign for the other ones to also do good. And then when Bitcoin crashes or Ethereum crashes, then it's sort of falls back down. So that's something that we want to sort of decouple from. And maybe with Ethereum having its own identity, Bitcoin having its own identity, these are the best projects that are in our space that have the most use case, outside of maybe Ripple, right? That the banking and financial institutions are sort of pushing for. So we're going to keep an eye on this and see how this all pans out, right? The other bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys is There was a new filing today by Van Eck Associates and Solid X Partners. They filed a new physically backed Bitcoin ETF proposal. They filed it with the Securities and Exchange Commission, right? They tried it before, but we're looking at being able to have a Bitcoin ETF, because what that would do is it would help people invest in a portfolio of different cryptocurrencies, right? Like, I do ETF trading on Robinhood, and I would buy, like, for example, you would buy a whole market. So it's if you're not familiar with ETF, it acts like you can trade it like a stock, but it acts like an index fund, right? So, an index fund is you're betting on a whole market, right? So you're sort of doing the same thing, but it's a portfolio of different companies that are within that ETF, right? If, for example, if you're doing gold ETFs, so it's gonna it's going to put together a portfolio of different gold-based ETFs. If you're doing natural gas, oil, all these things, so it'll go with those companies. On the oil, for example, you have ConocoPhillips, you have BP, British Petroleum, and all these other ones, right? So you're basically betting on all of them to go up or go down. So you're trading on a whole market. And if Bitcoin can have its ETF, there's none yet. That's what we've been waiting for. We already had Bitcoin futures that we already have, but we're still waiting for that ETF to come by, because that's going to give a lot of liquidity to our space and be able to allow other people to trade cryptocurrencies, or at least a select portfolio of cryptocurrencies, so that they can get more comfortable in the idea of its mainstream acceptance, right? So the other bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys is Binance opens bank account in Malta to offer crypto to Fiat service. So that's really, really good news. We all know that they moved from from Hong Kong to Malta because of the fact that the Chinese government was really cracking down hard on the crypto space. So they had to move from Hong Kong, and they've made the play to move to Malta, which was more accepting of the crypto blockchain projects and companies and exchanges. So with them opening up a bank account, it will open us being able to potentially buy cryptocurrencies directly, altcoins, not just the main coins, but altcoins as well, through Binance. Because right now I'm in the US, I have to go through like Kraken, Gemini, GDAX, there's CoinMama and all these other ones, but those are primarily the ones that I use. I still use Coinbase a lot, because it's just so easy, right? You can get in on it and then get your coins right away. Although you have to pay the fee. What I usually do is I'll buy it, and then I'll go to GDAX, try to make my fees there, and then take it out. That's usually what I do. So at least I can get back, do it through a small trading on GDAX, and recuperate some of the fees that I incurred in buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, Litecoin, and all these other ones, right? So the last bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys is this, investment giant Fidelity. So if you are in the United States, you probably have heard of Fidelity. If you're from the other part of the world and you don't have Fidelity here in the US is one of the largest, if not the largest, places that hold your retirement, like 401ks and stuff like that, right? They have IRAs, they have 401ks, all these investment vehicles, right? So the news about that is we already know that a lot of companies like JP Morgan, as well as JP Morgan, no, sorry about that. Yeah, JP Morgan has a lot of blockchain projects that they're patenting. Bank of America does as well. Morgan Stanley is getting into it. We also know that Goldman Sachs acquired Circle, which then acquired Poloniex, right? Because they want to be able to do an exchange. So for Fidelity, they said that they're currently hiring people that will hold positions to help them build an exchange of their own, right? So he said specifically executives notified employees the firm is looking for DevOps systems engineer to help engineer, create, and deploy a digital asset exchange to both a public and a private cloud. This was according to Business Insider. I don't have a Business Insider account, so I can't pull that article for you guys. because for some reason, for Business Insider, you get to see it for a little bit, and then you have to subscribe. And so I had to Google it, and I was able to find this one. But the original article that I was reading was from Business Insider. They say here, the move makes Fidelity one of the ever-increasing number of financial industry entities looking to increase direct interaction with cryptocurrencies, right? We already know about the Bitcoin futures, and as well as Goldman Sachs, that they were trying to do the same thing. So this is really, really bullish news for us guys, because they feel that, if you are able to put your retirement into Bitcoin, imagine that, or not just Bitcoin, but a whole market of different cryptocurrencies. Probably not a lot of the ICO projects, but the more solid ones, and the ones that already have a project, already have a minimum viable product, or an actual working product that will be allowed in these exchanges, right? I'm sure that like ICOs, new ICOs are definitely not going to be listed here, because there's a lot of irregularities that could still happen to them. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this particular news and see where this particular news takes us. It seems like every bit of news is sort of taken high or low in our space. The groups that I'm into, the Telegrams, Discord channels, Facebook groups that I'm into, whenever news like this is reported, everybody's like, oh, this is it, this is the bull run catalyst that we're looking for. But it's not. It didn't happen. Everybody was predicting that June 6th, because of some trend that, January 6th it dropped, and then February 6th it went up, and then March, stuff like that. And they said that June 6th was a catalyst for it to have a major bull run, and it didn't happen. It seems like every bit of news, we're always waiting for a catalyst to see that bull run. I think we need to be able to mature as well in this space. So not only think about the money-making aspect of it, we had to look at this, because people don't get into stocks, right? You don't get into stocks. Okay, I'm going to get into stocks. I'm going to invest in Netflix. I'm going to buy Amazon, Microsoft, Google stock. And then tomorrow I'm going to be rich, because it's just going to moon. That's not how sound financial companies or sound financial investments really work. I know that happens sometimes, but for us to be able to really be accepted by the mainstream market, we need to have less volatility. Volatility is good, but we can't expect it to like 200x, 2000x, 1500x. That's what we're all waiting for, and that can't be the reason why we are investing in this space, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys got some valuable information there. I hope the news that we were able to cover today was something that you can take action on, or maybe hold your positions on, or whatever the decisions may be. Please always remember that my advice to you is, don't take my my reports, my analysis as as is. You do your own research, really study the opportunities, and find coins and cryptos that you find value in, so that you can be able to make the right decision that is for you, because you're investing your own hard-earned money, and you don't make those investments because I say so, or any other YouTuber or anybody else, the news says so, right? Don't do that, please. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not licensed in this stuff. I'm not an expert. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and what I'm looking at, and how I analyze and see these opportunities, and what plays I'm doing. So just take it for what it is, but don't copy my trades. All right. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate your time today. Please do subscribe. Don't hit the notification bell. Please also comment below, and I really, really thank you for your time and joining me through these videos every single day. All right, well, I think until I see you guys on the next video, I wish you and your family a success-filled day. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Love you. Bye.